How you doing?
I can.
Buddy, how are you?
I can.
How's everything? Yeah, for sure.
No, I just got in. I'm going to get around.
Here with us on this special day are some very special people. They are members of Rob's family. Of course, his wife, Renata, his children, his daughter, Stephanie, and son, Douglas, as well as nieces and other relatives, including his brother, the Honorable Doug Ford, the 26th Premier of Ontario. I will also acknowledge many members of provincial parliament, including Minister Surma, who is the representative for this particular riding of Etobicoke Centre. We're also joined by a number of my colleagues. This is where Rob's heart always laid and where he had the most impact. Clearly, you can see that behind me here. This beautiful park is not far from where Rob grew up, where he went to school, where he worked and gave back so much to the community. He was always very proud and outspoken about his roots right here in Etobicoke. So this stadium here in Centennial Park is an appropriate location to commemorate and celebrate the life and lasting impact of our late former mayor and Etobicoke Councillor Rob Ford. I'm emceeing tonight, but I'm going to take a moment to say a few things about Rob. Rob used to sit next to me at council, and I really got to know him well. But as a councillor and as a mayor, Rob and his legacy were really well known. Among the hallmarks of his time as councillor and then as mayor, there were a couple of really dominant themes. The first thing he did was he always placed citizens first. He made customer service a priority, and it was about finding time for people, everybody, especially those with a limited voice or maybe somewhere off in one of the corners of the city. Making someone felt heard, someone that was otherwise ignored, was a key attribute and a value that he instilled. It's a lesson to take away, a type of equity that ensures citizens feel connected to their government and supporting democracy in this city. Secondly, and clearly, he was fiscally prudent, of the mindset that
it's wonderful to be here in Centennial Park and in this very special stadium, where thousands of young people learn new skills in sports, learn how to work together as a team. I am sure it brings back a lot of memories for anyone in track and field or who played football over the decades, including our premier, who I understand spent some time here as a young person. The football field is especially very, very important for today's ceremony. Our late former mayor, 54th birthday. 55, okay, yeah, 54 yesterday. 55 right today. Oy, the mayor can't count. Ay. That's why, thank you. 54 yesterday, okay. That's why I think it's fitting and special day to name the stadium after him. So I would like to officially welcome you all to the Rob Ford Stadium. Mayor Ford had a big impact in this city. And they sat beside each other at council chamber. They talked a lot about football and many other things, but especially football. Jack only lasted a few years at the football team. Not that long, but he certainly loved football too. And it was Rob that when Jack passed away that brought forward a tribute to Jack by naming the Jack Layton Ferry Terminal. And the Layton family is forever grateful for that. So when Councillor Ainsley, which is right over there, proposed that we name this stadium Rob Ford Stadium, we said yes, absolutely. Yes, that's why. Yeah, Council said yes. So I am so happy to be celebrating with all of you, including the Ford family, on Rob Ford's birthday. And it's an honor for me to introduce his daughter, Stephanie Ford, to say a few words. Dad would be very proud of you, Stephanie.
Rain or shine, I'm here and so my dad would be too. I want to thank everyone for coming to this ceremony to commemorate a great mayor, counselor, friend, brother, uncle, but also what he did for his second love, football. This stadium was an important place for my father, as he coached football at this stadium for the students of Don Bosco that are right behind me. He cared about these students and wanted to give them the best experience they could have, buying the team brand new gear, getting pizza after a good game, and helping the team with any issues they could have. Just like how he would treat his constituents, he treated everything for his team. He did everything for them. Football for these kids was not just about the game, but also gave them something to do. It kept them out of trouble and kept them motivated to stay in school so that they could continue playing. My father wanted to give these kids the best experience they could have, what they deserved to have. Thanks to his efforts, many of these football players went on to have very successful lives. Even as mayor, he would continue to coach and continue to provide these kids with a second home. As a previous student of Michael Powers St. Joseph High School and as a resident of Etobicoke, I have been to the stadium many times to watch the yearly football games. While I no longer attend, my younger brother Douglas will get to come here and watch the annual Friday Night Lights football games here in a stadium named after his father. My mother as well will be very happy to see this stadium in memory of her late husband whenever she takes a walk in Centennial Park. I look at his legacy and what he left behind and has inspired me through my whole life. I am proud to continue my family's legacy and to one day to be able to work for the people and to continue to help and support the people of Toronto. Thank you all for coming. And to the Polish people in this community, dziękuję bardzo.
Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford, welcomes her to the podium to say a few words.
My goodness, I'll tell you, this is one of the proudest days of our family, for
would say, myself, I know Dougie and Renata and Stephanie. She sounds like a future politician, Stephanie. She's headed there. She's been hanging out at Queen's Park too long. Right away, it wasn't his kids, because he'd always say Stephanie and Dougie, but when he was talking about his kids, anyone that knew Rob knew who he was talking about. He was talking about his football team. You know, if you look back over the number of years, the Rob Ford Football Foundation donated about $100,000, and I'm going to read off the names of the high schools that he helped out and contributed to buying equipment. But Rob had three major loves in his life. First, his family, his two kids and Renata. His second love is serving the people of Toronto. And every single day, I'm not exaggerating, every day, no matter where I am, people will show me a picture, they'll tell me a story, how he helped them out. And that just means absolutely everything to our family. And his third love was football, and they're no longer kids. They're adults with families and their own kids. I'll tell you, I actually don't have to tell these guys. You know how much Rob meant to each and every one of you guys, and he's just an absolute champion. I remember that picture in the mayor's office. I remember that picture as well. And he brought a program at, I think it was started in 2002 at Don Bosco, that didn't have a football team, to 2013, and brought it to the Metro Championship. And Metro Championship for non-football players, it's big. It's basically like the Ontario Championship. Any coach, and I know there's coaches behind me, there's coaches in the crowd. I know I'm going to get him because his parents can't afford the cleats. He can't make it on the football team. Another memorable moment is when he says, I'm just at the grocery store picking up groceries. I said, oh, are you heading home? He goes, no, I'm going over to one of our football players' houses, because he dropped them off and he went in there and there was a few kids and they offered him a drink, and when they opened up the fridge was empty. Honest to God story. He never talked about this, but story after story after story about Rob and his passion and his love for his kids. I walked into his office many times, and some of the kids there would be inside his office, and I'll never forget, maybe standing behind me, maybe not, but there was this one kid, I couldn't believe it. He must have been 6'4", 300 pounds, and he was sobbing in Rob's shoulders. You know, they had an issue, but Rob was dealing with it. It took everything I could to just hold it in, and I'm thinking, boy, this is the Rob Ford that people need to see. The people that, always called him for help, and he'd be over there, and the stories I'm hearing over the last few years, never heard before. But I'm going to repeat one story that I said at his eulogy about Gus over at Mr. Sub. I'll never forget this story, and maybe some of you remember this. So Rob comes back to the office, about 8 o'clock at night, and he had a sub, and I sarcastically said, where's my sub? I thought you were going to meet me here 45 minutes earlier. And he said, well, I had to go deliver subs. And he was the mayor at this time. I said, you got to be kidding me. He said, no, I went into Mr. Sub, and they had an order that was takeout, and someone couldn't take it out, so I offered, Rob saying I offered, to deliver the subs. I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. He says, oh, it was fantastic. He said, I went to the place, I knocked on the door with the 4 subs. He goes, I paid in advance. I think it was $32 at the time. And so I paid in advance until I wouldn't have to go back to the sub shop. And he delivered the subs. I said, what did the people say? He said, they were shocked. But I said, Rob, as mayor, you can't deliver subs. And to him, he was delivering those subs no matter what. He goes, it was great. I gained 4 new voters, and they gave me $35, and I said, "You never kept the $3 tip." He goes, "Of course I did. I kept the $3 tip." But now I'm going to get into how this became reality. Paul Ainsley, I also call him Paulie as well. When you sit beside someone for 4 years, you get to know them extremely well. You know their family, you know history, back and forth. And, Paulie, thank you so much for bringing this forward. It means everything to us. But let me just mention this. It wasn't just Paul. If the council didn't vote for it, this would not happen. And now here we go with the mayor. I absolutely love her. I think the world of her. And I'm so grateful, because without the support of the council and ultimately the support of the mayor, that I'll be forever, ever grateful, Olivia, or Mayor Chow, I should say. And I'll never, ever forget it. This would not happen if it wasn't for the mayor and the city council. I was mentioning about how the Rob Ford Foundation put in over $100,000, but he wouldn't brag about that. He wouldn't brag about buying equipment. But these are some of the schools the Rob Football Foundation supported. Newton Brook Secondary School, Don Bosco Catholic Secondary School, Westview Centennial, Forest Hill Collegiate, Eastern Commerce Collegiate, Monarch Park Collegiate Institute, Lester B. Pearson Collegiate, and C.W. Jeffries Collegiate. These are some of the schools that benefited from Rob and what he believed in and just supporting the community. He always thought some kids are gifted academically, some kids are gifted with a trade, some kids have the natural athletic build and ready to go. And Rob thought, through football, I can teach them values. Values of being honest, supporting the community, teamwork, working together, and getting things accomplished. That's what he taught a lot of the kids, and many more things, and getting ready for life. I pulled out, there's you could imagine, not hundreds, probably thousands of quotes. And I just found a couple, and I think they'll agree. This is one from CBC News. The headlines were, Rob Ford, a father figure to the football team at Don Bosco. Opoka, I don't know first or last name, you guys probably know better than I do behind me, spent 2 seasons playing for Rob Ford at Don Bosco. Then for 4 more years, helping the former mayor out as an assistant coach. He says Ford was a father figure to him, and that's the way Rob looked at it. Another quote here from Life magazine: Don Bosco football Eagles ready for takeoff. Russ Huff, general manager of the Etobicoke Eagles. Now, the Etobicoke Eagles was a summer team that Rob would coach, and the football players up there, that's the same, probably Etobicoke Eagles, just a younger generation. Because Rob didn't just coach during football season in high school, he coached all summer long as well. So Russ Huff, general manager of the Etobicoke Eagles football organization and current coach of Silverthorne Collegiate. This is his quote. In just a few years, they've gone from dormant in the West End to a cohesive, competitive team that has to be considered a championship contender every single year. Hoff credits Ford's hard work. He's gotten kids in that area to come out and represent their community in a positive way. I'm going to read one more quote here. This is newstoronto.com. Don Bosco football players remember Rob Ford, their coach and their mentor. Former player Andre Laporte said, everything that the media put on him was so bad, and no one ever got to see the good he did for us as football players. He taught us the values of life, what to do after football, how to make it in the world. And these are just some of the quotes. Sorry, one more. Hamilton defensive back Jay Langa played for Ford for 5 seasons, starting in 2004 while attending Don Bosco High School in Etobicoke, where Ford served as head coach. It was a rough neighborhood, and Langa says football and Ford helped them stay on the right path. Well, I'll tell you, these young men behind me, they're on the right path. They have great careers. They're leaders in their community, and it all started, I believe, back in high school. Or it could start in your college, but something had an impact for Rob. And I just want to thank the president, and I said this in his eulogy. It was Abraham Lincoln. And Rob believed in governing of the people, by the people, and for the people. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank my colleagues from Queen's Park. I call my PC family, and you truly are my family. I wouldn't be standing here, folks, if it wasn't for our caucus that works day in and day out. And I'm just so grateful. I'm getting chills talking about you guys. I think the other half of the crew's down at the legislature, keeping things moving along. And
thank you for sharing something about Rob. Many people knew him through the lens of a camera, through a TV screen. Some of us got to know him in person, but Doug just shared with us something only a brother could tell you, or maybe his extended family, his football team. Without further ado, we're at that special moment. The rain has stopped, and it is now time to reveal something. May I ask the team to count down from 3, 2, 1, ready? 3, 2, 1. Folks, we've got one more step. As tradition, Mayor Chow, Her Worship Mayor Chow, will be making a presentation to the family. A small gift to commemorate today's momentous event.